Hello and welcome to our channel. Today, we're diving into the wild world of mobile phone thefts and the instant justice that some brave souls dished out to those who dared to steal their lifeline. Mobile phones are our lifeline these days, so when thieves strike, you bet people aren't backing down without a fight. Let's get right into it. We begin with this thrilling video. A biker is recording his ride when he spots a thief on a bicycle stealing someone's phone. Without hesitation, the biker speeds up, catches the thief, and knocks him off the bike. He then grabs the stolen phone as the thief scrambles away on foot. Realizing his heist has failed badly, the biker then returns to find the phone's owner, an upset lady, and hands her the phone, restoring her faith in humanity. Next, we're in a shopping mall. A thief tries to run off with a stolen phone in the mall, but people quickly notice and start chasing him. They catch up and tackle him, making sure he can't escape. More bystanders gather and give him a good hiding. The thief learns a tough lesson. Don't try to steal in a busy mall. Next up, take a look at this crazy series of events. An empty road, a woman walking on the footpath. Suddenly, a guy on a bike appears, jumps off, and runs towards a woman, snatching her bag. Just then, a white car zooms in. The driver, seeing the robbery, swerves and crashes into the thief's bike. The thief tries to get up, but the driver isn't done. He reverses and crashes into the bike again and again. Finally, the thief, beaten by persistence, escapes without the bag. The woman retrieves her bag, and our have-a-go hero driver chases the thief in reverse. Now that's swift justice on wheels. In this next footage, we see a kid swipes a phone from a group and bolts, thinking he's made a clean getaway, but his luck runs out fast. A chase begins, and it's all caught on camera. As he realizes he's about to be caught, he panics and throws the phone away. An onlooker points out where the phone landed. The phone is retrieved, and the kid, now cornered, tries to flee but is quickly caught. The 17-year-old looks terrified and pleads for mercy. He learned a hard lesson that sometimes crime just doesn't pay. In our next clip, we see a man sitting in his truck, casually picking up a phone call when out of nowhere, a thief snatches the phone right out of his hand and takes off. The thief runs to his motorbike, hops on, and speeds away. But here's where it gets epic. The truck driver, realizing what just happened, isn't about to let his phone go that easily. He jumps out of his truck, sprints across the road, placing himself in the bike's path, and kicks the thief off his bike. In this next footage, we see a famous sportswoman just sitting and relaxing in a restaurant, enjoying her meal, when something unexpected happens. A person walks by, and soon after, our sportswoman notices her phone is missing. So, like a true hero, she goes after the guy. She chases after him, finally catching up out in the street and gets her phone back. Next up, this mobile phone thief thought the coast was clear, but unknown to him, this cop and her body cam were watching. As soon as the criminal had done his deed and started running, the cop took off after him. She chased the would-be thief for a good distance, finally catching up to him, and after that, it was a quick arrest. Now that is a hero in the right place at the right time. Our next clip takes us to London. Take a look at this crazy scene in the city, where a phone thief on an electric bike goes wild, snatching a large number of phones while zooming through traffic. He thought he was super slick, speeding away at almost 50 miles per hour to dodge the cops. But his luck ran out. Near the bank station, the police in an unmarked car spotted him and made their move. He ditched his bike and took off on foot. The thief tried to run, but the officers were right behind him. Despite his efforts to escape, they made sure he was going nowhere. Next, we see this guy on a bicycle swiping phones from 3 young boys who were just walking home from school. He pedals away thinking he's got it made, but karma strikes fast. The police quickly corner him with their car, causing him to tumble off the road. Panicking, He ditches the bike and tries to run, but the police are hot on his heels. Here, we see a couple getting robbed by two guys on a motorbike. Suddenly, a man decides he's not having any of it. He takes matters into his own hands and rams his car right into the thieves at some speed. Whoa! Talk about instant justice caught on CCTV. These pests had tried to rob our hero just moments before. Sometimes karma isn't just swift. It's got four wheels and a driver who's had enough. Next up, we see a man stroll into a phone shop, pretending to check out a phone, and then suddenly tries to make a run for it. But his grand escape plan hits a snag. The shop owner has locked the door. The thief's face shows instant regret as he realizes he's trapped. He awkwardly returns the phone, egg on his face, and clearly regretting his life choices. The shop owner, surprisingly forgiving, lets him go with a chance to redeem himself. In our next clip, a woman stands at the counter. Just another random day at work. Outside, a police car is parked, a detail our clueless thief probably should have noticed. A customer walks in with a shopping bag, looking pretty normal. But then things get weird. The customer starts acting suspicious, pulls out something from the bag and demands money, revealing a hidden gun. The woman, scared out of her mind, quietly hands over the cash. As he tries to leave, the woman goes inside. Cue the police, who calmly walk in and tell the thief to put his hands up. They arrest him on the spot. Up next, we see a man parking his bike when suddenly two thieves on another bike swoop in, aiming to steal his phone. They think they've got an easy target, but they're in for a surprise. The man fights back fiercely, refusing to let go of his phone. The other thief tries to intervene, but the man holds on tightly. As the struggle continues, the man falls, but he never lets go of his phone. Realizing they're not getting anywhere, the thieves finally give up and flee. It takes serious guts and a lot of energy, but this guy proves he's not an easy target. In this next clip, we see a mobile snatcher gets a crash course in bad decisions. This guy thinks he can just swipe a woman's purse and make a clean getaway, but hold on. Her husband isn't about to let that slide. The husband bolts after him, and before you know it, they're tussling. He lands a solid punch, grabs the thief by the collar, and dishes out 3 knee strikes that have the thief rethinking his entire life. Next up, we have some amazing CCTV footage of a popular martial arts instructor with a black belt in Kung Fu and Chinese kickboxing, teaching a phone snatcher a lesson he won't forget. This wannabe robber pretended to be interested in taking classes, but then snatched her phone. Our martial arts instructor sprang into action, using her skills to fight him off and get her phone back. She even herded him away from the students and got him out of the studio. The guy claimed he had a weapon, but she didn't believe him and kept her cool, seeing him off completely. In our next clip, a would-be robber has the tables turned on him. In this wild video from a mobile phone shop, a man is just chilling when a weird-looking dude walks in flaunting a gun. But surprise, surprise. The shop owner has a gun too. The owner pulls out his gun, and the robber's bravado vanishes. He starts pleading, promising he won't do anything if he's allowed to leave. The owner, standing firm, tells him to lie down. The thief complies, gets disarmed, and his gun is tossed aside. Moments later, the police arrive, arrest him, and off to jail he goes. Up next, we've got a scene straight out of an action movie. Picture this. It's just another day, people chilling, bikes and cars zooming by. But suddenly, out of nowhere, 2 guys on a motorbike swoop in and snatch a phone from some unsuspecting guy. Now, you'd think they'd get away easily, right? Wrong. This guy isn't having any of it. He starts chasing them down like a real-life Rambo, determined to get his phone back. And just when you think it couldn't get any crazier, a car comes out of nowhere and crashes into all of them. The thieves go flying, but our hero, he's up in a flash, throwing kicks and punches. And before you know it, a crowd gathers and they all jump in to help whoop the bad guys. Now that's what I call a real-life action scene. Next up, it's time for a Hollywood takedown. On a bright, sunny day in Hollywood, A guy sucker punches a diner and robs him at a local pizzeria. Quick as lightning, the restaurant owner sees it happen and springs into action. He chases the thief down the street, catching up and tackling him right on busy Hollywood Boulevard. But that's not all. The owner's girlfriend comes to the rescue too. She and another woman recover the stolen items, while the thief desperately tries to escape. At first, she stands on his legs, but when that doesn't work, she starts putting in some serious kicks. Turns out, the restaurant owner had been helping this guy out for months with food and water. Talk about biting the hand that feeds you. Here's one for you. On the left side of the road, we see two guys. One's a robber, and the other is his unfortunate victim. The robber pats the guy down for valuables and finds a mobile phone, just as he goes to sit on his bike to make a getaway. The victim springs into action, attacking the robber to get his phone back. A wild fight breaks out, with the victim refusing to back down. Finally, the robber decides it's too much and bolts down the road. But our brave victim isn't done yet. He chases after the robber, determined to catch him and get him arrested. Talk about picking on the wrong guy. We're calling this one Thinking Inside the Box. And trust me, it's an unbelievably funny story out of Miami Gardens. Imagine a guy trying to rob a phone repair store, but here's the twist. He's wearing a cardboard box on his head. Yep, you heard that right. In the early hours of the morning, this box bandit stole 19 iPhones and $8,000 in cash. The store owner was furious, but even he couldn't stop laughing when he saw the footage. The dumb crook knocked the box off his head mid-robbery, ensuring that the cameras caught his face before he quickly put it back on. The owner shared the video, and the next day, someone spotted our not-so-clever thief at a nearby barbershop and called the cops. The police nabbed him without his trusty box disguise. And that, folks, is how the brainless box bandit got busted. Up next, we see two guys walk into a mobile phone store. They stroll in like they're just there to browse, but they've got other plans. They're here to rob. They approach the cashier, pull out a gun, and start making demands. The cashier, thinking quickly, bolts outside and locks the door behind him. Suddenly, our genius robbers realize they're trapped. They start panicking and shouting, trying everything to open the door. One of them even uses a stick in a desperate attempt to break free, but it's no use, they're stuck, and the crowd outside is loving the show. You can see the robbers frantically trying different ways to escape, talking to the onlookers outside. It's like a real-life comedy as they realize their so-called heist was a total flop. We're dubbing these two Dumb and Dumber. Now, we're heading to Surrey for our next one. Have a look at this totally hilarious CCTV footage from a Surrey business. Imagine this. A determined crook smashes a glass and slips into the cell clinic, thinking he's got it made. But this break-in goes downhill fast. The security gate proves too tricky. He pushes, pulls, and finally decides to slide underneath, only to find there's absolutely nothing to steal. As the alarm blares and police rush in, our hapless thief is trapped. He panics, trying every door, but there's no escape. The store owner, watching it all unfold on their smartphone, is extremely amused by the thief's desperation. Eventually, the room fills with police lights and the crook gives up, hands in the air. The police arrive just in time to escort him straight to jail. It's what we like to call a break-in gone wrong. Now, this next one has got to be the funniest thing we've seen in a long time. Two guys are standing next to a car, chatting and minding their own business. Suddenly, a bike zooms past them, only to turn around and head back again. The biker stops near the two guys, and the passenger jumps off, trying to threaten them. But here's the plot twist. One of our guys has a gun. He flips the script and starts robbing the would-be robbers. The other guy yanks the driver off and takes the bike from him. His pal with the gun hops on the back, and they ride off on the would-be robber's bike. Now that's poetic justice. In our next clip, we're looking at some dash cam footage from an Uber. The driver is just chilling in traffic with his passenger, when suddenly the passenger decides to make things interesting. This dude pops out of the window with a gun and demands all the driver's money. But here's where it gets really interesting. The thief is so focused on his victim that he doesn't notice what's right behind him, a police car. As the thief keeps demanding more, the police officer steps out, walks over to the Uber, and tells the thief to step out at gunpoint. The officer arrests him on the spot, and the driver is so relieved he can't hide his gratitude. It's like he said a prayer before leaving home that day, and his prayer was answered. Sometimes, justice works faster than you'd think. Next, we see this guy in a blue shirt pretending to be a customer, checking out a phone while the shopkeeper watches him closely from behind the counter. After a few moments, Blue Shirt tries to make a run for it with the phone, but our quick-thinking shopkeeper grabs his shirt, yanking him back with a lot of strength, and snatches the phone right out of his hand. Epic fail! Next up, two guys are chilling on a bench, chatting and using their phones. Suddenly, two boys on a bike swoop in, snatch their phones, and take off, thinking they've nailed the perfect crime. But they couldn't have been more wrong. A guy standing at an entrance sees the whole thing and decides to be a hero. He intercepts and shoves the thieves off their bikes, sending them flying. The robbed guys, now fired up, start running after the thieves to get their phones back. The thieves panic and produce their guns, but the guy who got robbed grabs a rock and faces them down like a boss. Meanwhile, another guy from across the street joins in, cutting off the thieves' escape. The entire street then comes alive as everyone rushes out to help. They catch the young thieves and give them a serious thrashing. Next, a guy walks into a cell phone store. The employees think he's there to buy something, but instead, he heads straight to the counter and starts stealing money and phones. The female employees quickly make a decision. They step outside, lock the door, and leave the bungling crook trapped inside. At first, the thief doesn't realize he's locked in. When he finally does, he panics. He tries to open the door, but it won't budge. He kicks it and bangs on it, but nothing works. The door is locked solid, and there's no getting out. He sees a key at the counter and tries his luck, but that doesn't work either. He's freaking out, trying everything he can think of, even ramming the door with his body, hoping to break it down. But he's not even built like that. Outside, people are gathered, watching the comedy show and laughing their heads off. After a while, he drops to his knees, pleading for forgiveness, promising he won't do it again. But nobody's listening. Finally, the police arrive, realizing he's out of options. He raises his hands and surrenders on his knees. And that, folks, is how you spectacularly fail at a robbery. In this next clip, we see a bunch of guys hanging out, having a great time chatting. Two dodgy dudes on a bike eye them suspiciously but ride away. The group suspects nothing and carries on enjoying their conversation. But suddenly, the dodgy duo reappear with a third guy on another bike. As they realize what's about to go down, the group scatters, sprinting in all directions. The robbers are left confused, unsure who to chase. Finally, we have a cell phone thief who thought he had gotten away. He stole a phone and made a run for it, even ducking underneath the ticket barrier. But the people in the subway had other plans. They chased after him at full speed, through the subway and out into the street, where they caught up with him and kept him subdued until the cops arrived. So there you have it. 30 epic moments where phone thieves were met with swift, decisive, and often creative justice. Remember, if you ever find yourself in a tough spot, there's a good chance someone out there is ready to step up and help. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button for more entertaining content. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next one.